Hello, this is Team Chocolate Milkshake and we are presenting our solution for Union Bank Hackathon. Our PS is the PS5 Unified Customer Complaint Communication Dashboard. And what we have developed is Complaint AI. So the main issue currently in banking system is that customer support has to face various queries from various platforms like Reddit, Twitter, WhatsApp, etc. So we have developed a solution, Complaint AI, where we can integrate a unified dashboard which will have all the complaints of all the platforms, like for example Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, WhatsApp, which will integrate all of those complaints into one single dashboard. So these are the unique solutions which we have outlined, where the main thing is that we have integrated an AI native architecture where there are multiple agents working together to generate correct responses which are under the SLA guidelines. Second is the unified complaint intelligence, of course, which is the main PS where we are integrated all the platforms into one single unified platform. Semantic understanding layer where we can analyze the context of the user before generating a response, where we can analyze the user's past history, what are the user's purchases or transactions, etc., etc. Then the advanced duplication layer. This is something which I'll talk about later as well, which is a very important feature which has never been developed in banking systems before, where what we are thinking of developing a graphical based system where we can analyze the user's queries and connect them to the different users. So for example, if many users have complained about transaction not working, so there will be a big cluster of transaction not working, and it will connect all the users which are complaining about the same. The next thing we have is GenAI assisted resolution, where the AI agent will generate correct response or correct response to the user's queries. The next thing we have is the intelligent insights engine, where this is a important feature where we can analyze the real-time trends that mainly this feature of the banking system is not working, or this particular isolated framework is not working for the banking system, which many people have queried about. The next thing is the workflow automated layer, where everything in our website or integrated pipeline is automated with a human in the loop. Then is the compliance and explainability, where we can generate the audit logs as well. The next thing we have is the self-learning system. This is a very important feature which has, I think, not been implemented till now, where if a human is there in the loop, the AI will learn from its behavior and what response it has generated to previous queries, and if there are similar queries, the AI can answer with respect to the human in the loop which was generated before. So this is something which will help AI do reinforcement learning without actually reinforcement learning. The next thing we have is key differentiators, is the fully agentic AI system, RAG powered automation, where the RAG is graph RAG as well as a normal vector database. The next thing is semantic intelligence, where we are also integrating semantic analysis, toxicity analysis, and what are the purpose behind the queries. Like if the query made by the user is more of a angry query or happy query, etc. Next is the automation, which is end-to-end with a human in the loop. Now let's move to the technical approach. So here is the agentic pipeline flowchart which we are planning to integrate. So as you can see, there are multiple platforms coming into a unified complaint memory dashboard, which is then passed to the mother agent. Now this mother agent is orchestrating 20 plus agents, where there are 20 small agents which can be going back and forth with the mother agent itself. So one of them is multilingual classifier, where we can handle complaints of different languages. The next thing is the SLA tracking agent, which will have a SLA guidelines rule in the vector database, which will verify the SLA guidelines before generating a response. The next thing we have is the DB query agent, which will have the graph vector database I talked to you about, where the graph will connect all the users and all their queries into clusters of different graphs, which can be viewed in the front end, as well as it will have a graph RAG of Neo4j in the backend. So this is the DB query agent, which will have context of the user before generating the response. The next thing is the banking guideline agent, which will analyze the guidelines of the banks itself to generate a response, that what guidelines should be considered before generating a response. The next thing is the customer support agent. This will have the human in the loop feedback which I was talking about, where the agent will go back and forth with the customer if there is a complex query which needs to be compulsorily have a human in the loop, which will go back and forth, of course, with the human or the customer support agent. The next is the classifier agent, which in turn will have 3 agents of urgency score calculator, that how urgent is this query. The sentiment analysis agent, which will analyze the sentiment of the query, where if it is a happy, sad, neutral, angry query. Complaint categorization agent, that what type of complaint is it? Is that a transaction complaint? Is that an app complaint? Is that a specific website complaint? Is there a IPO complaint, etc., etc.? The other small agents we have is the ticket routing agent, which will route tickets to correct parts of the customer support, where there are, as you know, multiple customer support of one of banking websites, one of applications, one of transactions, one of payments, one of UPIs. So this will correctly route the tickets to different types of agents or the customer support itself. The next thing is the root cause analysis, that what was the root cause of that query, so that there are minimum chances of it occurring out again. The next thing we have is the response generation agent, which will of course generate the response, and then the deduplication agent. This is that if there is a same query which has been answered by the customer support human before, then it will analyze if this is the similar query, and now it will refer the customer support's answer, and then it can generate an answer of its own. So it will have a context of a customer support human as well. So this is more accurate than rest of the agents. Then now this was the agentic pipeline. Now here is written on how we'll use it. So first we'll collect the data from multiple channels into our unified platform with multilingual translation. Then the metadata enrichment, where we'll handle the timestamp, channel, customer ID, etc., etc. Now these three are the agentic pipeline system, where we'll process with NLP, which will have with the agent will process the complaint categorization or the sentiment analysis, generate embeddings using transformer models, and then the deduplication, where we'll analyze similar complaints and will perform a backend cluster. Then is the RAG architecture, where we'll have the graph RAG as well as the vector database of SLA guidelines, graph RAG of customer and their queries, banking database, and a vector DB of banking guidelines. This is the agentic AI system, which all the agents I discussed, and this includes the GenAI response generation as well. Now, what is the workflow automation and compliance logging? So, for example, this whole pipeline is completely built, but this needs to be integrated in the banking website as well. So this is what we're planning to do after we complete this hackathon, where we'll integrate this whole pipeline into website, as well as, if we have the time, in the mobile app as well. Then comes the compliance and login, where we'll maintain a complete audit of logs, and these logs will also be maintained in the graphical database which I discussed, which is our most MVP feature. Next comes the feasibility and viability. Here the what is the strategies and what are the challenges what we are going to face is that the AI misclassification of complaints, sensitive customer financial data, integration with multiple legacy banking system, noise, misinformation, and social media data, detection complex fraud patterns in large datasets. So the mitigation strategies are also that what we are thinking of is that the AI models will use is completely open source and in-house. So there will be no data related issue with the data frauds. The next thing we'll do is that we'll have multiple agents verifying the claim before generating the response. So these agents will also include a human in the feedback, which will then also include an agent which will verify all the human responses before to the similar queries, so it can generate similar responses. The next thing we have is impacts and benefit, which will of course reduce the frauds, improve the latency of the response generation, because banking websites currently take a lot of time answering each and every queries. So this agentic pipeline, which is automated, will help reduce the latency by a lot, and this in turn will also improve on the urgency classifier, where if a particular query is very urgent and it is not classified correctly in the current banking system, takes a lot of time to process. But if a correct query is correctly classified into urgent, then it can be first generated with a response rather than the least urgent query. Also, that if there are two similar queries, then the customer support agent has to currently generate and write responses to each of them separately. But our agentic pipeline will help automate that if a customer human agent has written a response for a specific query, then all the similar queries will have the same response. So this will be done by our agentic pipeline. The business model we have is the currently software as a service model, where we have developed a system subscription model with $20 a plan, $20 a month. But this is just the current business model, which we're of course going to change on the first 2 or 3 months. The go-to market strategy is that we are focusing on B2B banks, and the expansion opportunities that we have is, of course, which I talked about, that currently we are using APIs for LLMs, but we can in the future provide in-house LLMs for the banks as well to secure the data. And now we'll go on to our front end prototype. So this is our landing page. This is the plans I was talking about. This we are planning. This is subject to change. Most of the banks will go with is the enterprise level, and this $100 per month is subject to change. Now I'll first log in as a banking operative, then I'll show you as a customer side of point of view as well. So yeah, so this is the dashboard for banking operative where he or she can view the total complaints, which how many of them are open resolved, how many SLA breaches have been done, what is the sentiment score. So here is the complaints with priority and status as well. Now this is the separated dedicated complaints tab where you can individually view all the complaints. So for example, this Priya Patel has a category of account access complaint. So I can view that what was the timeline and what are the AI insights, because this is a complaint that AI could not solve. So I could resolve it myself. And yeah, and here as you can see the SLA has a timing of the response for the complaint. So this is the SLA timing as well. Then comes the complaint intelligence, where this is done by AI, where we can also run the deep analysis, where we can see that what are the clusters of complaint and what is the trends that most of the complaints are coming out of. Then the SLA escalation, this is more focused on the SLA guidelines of the RBI, where we can see that what is the most priority and most active SLAs that needs, which are breached and that needs to be looked after. This is the customer 360, where we can analyze each of the customers complaint in detail, which is more focused on the customer's point of view, where we can see the complaints for individual customers and their sentiments, that was he happy with the service or not. Then comes the analytics trend, which is more focused on what is the timing of complaints and what at what time most of the complaints are formed, what are the categories of the complaints, what is the most category per day, per month, etc, etc. This then comes the complaint graph. This is our MVP which we were talking about, where this is a very bad representation of what we are going to build, but here we can see that what is the complaint theme or cluster and what other customers face that complaint as well. So for example, here is a login issue which was a complaint which comes under the net banking and auth error. So this was faced by Amit, but here something for example of UPI fail. So this was failed by Rahul, and this Priya had faced double issues, which was double charge and card decline. So this is something of a graph we are going to build for hundreds of customers or whatever the user base is. We can also in detail see the analysis of each complaint. So for example, Amit K, if I press on the node of Amit K, we can see that what is the issue that he faced, and when I click on login issue, that who faced those issues and what issue does it comes under. Next we have is the knowledge base, where we can verify all the complaints and have a complete template of generating a response for the customer as well as the AI pipeline. The compliance and reports, where we'll have the complete audit logs and the reports of all the responses that AI has integrated or human feedback has implemented, etc, etc. Then the settings for the banking operator, of course, where we can change the profile and other things as well. So now I'll log out and I'll log in from the customer point of view. So here you can see my complaints and trace a complaint, and this is a chat support. But keep in mind that this is very basic approach what we're going to build, because this will be integrated with Twitter, WhatsApp, Reddit, YouTube and other platforms as well, which will all be shown in the unified platform of the banking operative here. So this is a very brief outline of what we're going to build for this PS, and our team name is Chocolate Milkshake. And yeah, thank you.